It's been a while since I've done this. Long enough that my rig looked more like a dust-collecting monument to procrastination than an actual cockpit. But after months of downtime thanks to those Red Sea internet issues, it was finally time. Time to blow off the cobwebs, jump back in and see if I could still drive. And what better way to return than with the car I'd left sitting in the garage for 2 months? The AMG GT4, my old faithful, my comfort zone. Or at least it used to be. Because as it turns out, muscle memory expires, and mine definitely passed its sell-by date. So yeah, this is how my grand comeback to sim racing went. Brands Hatch. Short, fast, technical. A track I've always loved because it rewards rhythm more than pace. Which was a problem, because rhythm was the one thing I didn't have. Something just felt off. No matter what I did, I couldn't keep this thing pointed in the right direction. It's not like I was miles off the pace, the lap times were okay. Every few laps I'd chip away a tenth here, couple tenths there, but the consistency? Gone. Completely gone. Maybe I was just rusty, or maybe it's the new AMG update. Ever since they changed the downforce, it's been harder to keep straight than a shopping trolley with a dodgy wheel. At least, that's what I keep telling myself, because it's way easier to blame the car than admit that I'd forgotten how to drive it. Still, the pace was coming back, slowly. And at that point, I figured I'd learned enough. The only way to really get back into it was to throw myself into a race. What could possibly go wrong? Back on the grid. Top split. 17th out of 26. Not exactly a hero return, but hey, at least I wasn't last. Plus, I had a plan. A very scientific, deeply strategic plan. Drive at about 80%, keep it clean, let everyone else crash themselves into therapy, and pick up the freebies. Simple, sensible, mature even, which should already be a red flag for where this story is going. Lights out. Turn 1, clean. Maybe this comeback thing won't be a disaster after all. And then before we even reach T2, somebody decides to give me a little welcome back shoulder massage. Tiny tap, not enough to kill me, but enough to remind me I haven't done this in months, and I'm back in the war zone. And right away, the car feels wrong. Not just a bit twitchy, I mean constantly on the verge of death. On the brakes, rear end tries to overtake me. Mid-corner, car suddenly thinks it's auditioning for figure skating. Touch the throttle on exit, surprise slide. It felt like piloting a caffeinated shopping trolley with PTSD. But I'm hanging on, for now. After grazing the grass a corner earlier, I get a horrible run out of TA, and the BMW behind gets the kind of exit NASA dreams of. He shows the nose into the next corner, and honestly, self-preservation mode activated. After you, sir. My life insurance isn't that good. I'm thinking long game, smart driving, wise, measured, calculated, but I'm still on him across the line and into turn 1. Inside line, he covers it, fine. Swing wide, cut back, beat him down to turn 2 and keep the inside line there. Oldest trick in the book. I turn in, hunting the apex, and boom. A Mustang absolutely launches it up the inside. I didn't see him, and Netcode decides reality is optional, and suddenly I'm losing 4 positions because apparently I've forgotten spatial awareness. My stupidity plus the worst netcode in motorsport, a beautiful combination. I scrap 1 position back, feeling all smug, then lose it again about 5 seconds later. Classic. Next straight, I'm glued to the guy ahead, better run, lining up the corner, already trailed off the brakes, ready to power out when I realise I'm catching him way too fast. So I just breathe on the brake, literally a whisper. and the AMG immediately goes into blender mode. I nearly end up in the Armco just trying not to rear-end someone. By the end of lap 2, I have successfully reversed my qualifying position. Second to last, in 2 laps, textbook comeback drive. And from there, it's just a battle for survival. I'm sweating like I'm in a Le Mans final, and meanwhile, I'm fighting to keep that thing pointed vaguely forward at 60% race pace. Fast forward to lap 8. The Porsche behind decides to send it straight into the vortex of death. Combine that with more masterpiece level netcode and boom, I'm punted off again. Brilliant. Lap 10, I managed to avoid a crashed car like a hero, only to immediately hand the position back 2 corners later when my AMG decides to perform a spontaneous pirouette. I'm driving way under the limit, like Sunday morning pensioner levels, and the car still refuses to take a corner without threatening my life. At this point, I'm half convinced the chassis is haunted. Frustration setting in? Understatement. I'm questioning physics, setup, life choices, and whether I should just become a farming simulator channel. I crawl to the end in 18th, which sounds fine until you realise I basically only beat people who got disqualified or spent most of the race sightseeing in the pits. Not quite the triumphant return I was hoping for. After that race, I did what any rational, mentally stable sim racer would do. I stared at the results for 25 minutes trying to work out whether it was me or the car. And honestly, it was hard to ignore the evidence. You'd think Mercedes had been banned from the podium. So maybe it wasn't just rust. Maybe the AMG really was fighting a losing battle here. Still, I couldn't help the self-doubt creeping in. Was it the car? Was it the setup? Or was I just bad now? Either way, I needed a reset. So I did what any desperate driver does when denial becomes data-driven. If you can't beat them, join them. Enter the BMW M4 GT4. The car that everyone else was in, and seemingly for very good reason. From the very first lap I could feel it. The stability, the feedback, the balance. The car actually talked back instead of screaming for help. Where the AMG would try to murder me for breathing on the brakes, the BMW just took it. Calmly. Turn-in felt predictable, mid-corner grip planted, on throttle, smooth, controlled and confident. And when I did push too hard, when I overcooked the entry or got greedy on the throttle, the slides were actually recoverable, the kind that make you smirk instead of scream for your life. Every lap I was getting faster, but without even trying. And before I'd even built temperature into the tyres, I'd already matched my personal best time in the AMG. Time to put this to the test. Race 2. Same track, new weapon. Top split again. I'd like to say I was feeling confident, but let's be honest. After race 1, just finishing without forming a personal relationship with the wall would be progress. Qualifying hadn't exactly gone to plan either. As has somehow become tradition, my banker lap counted, but my actual push lap, the one that was shaping up beautifully, didn't. Track limits as usual. So I'm starting 21st out of 30. Not ideal, but if I can keep the consistency from practice, I might be able to claw back some iRacing, and maybe, just maybe, a shred of dignity. Turn 1, and already cars are off. Turn 2, and people are making moves that would get them arrested in real life. I'm fine with losing a couple of spots here. All I want is to get some heat into these tyres, which, since the update, takes longer than an iRacing protest review. Between T3 and 4, I pick up 2 positions. One guy spins, another takes a line so wide it probably needs its own postcode. but I'll take it. The car still feels a little twitchy, but compared to the AMG, it's a yoga retreat on cruise control. I'm just trying to stick close to the car ahead and maybe break away from the chaos behind. Then we reach turn 8. And welcome everybody to the meeting of bright minds. There's an off-track ahead. A BMW rejoins like he's emerging from a black hole. Ridiculous. But instead of slowing down, the AMG behind decides the best course of action is to drive right through him, collecting a poor Porsche on the outside for good measure. 2 cars obliterated. I gained 3 spots. Nothing to complain about, but honestly, I'm baffled. At least now I know how many brain cells are rattling around inside that AMG ahead. I'll keep that in mind for later. By the end of lap 1, I crossed the line in 16th. 5 positions gained in a single lap. If this keeps up, I might actually have a race here. I show my nose up the inside into turn 2, just enough to make him nervous, trying to put him offline and keep the pressure building. And I have to say, the difference in this car is night and day. It's composed, predictable. For the first time all weekend, I'm not scared the car's going to spin beneath me just because I blinked. Then, poetic deja vu. A spinning AMG appears ahead. And while I'm still processing that flashback to race 1 trauma, 2 more AMGs up front start fighting. The bulldozer from earlier, yeah, that guy, loses it again mid-battle. I'm already in a mid-slide, and when I hit the brakes to avoid joining his interpretive dance routine, my controlled drift turns into full-blown nightmare. I hit the wall right next to him. Perfect symmetry. I try to turn around quickly, but the steering's gone. Maybe, just maybe, it's wheel damage. It's pretty hard to tell. Then the dreaded meatball flag pops up. Fantastic. Even though I've got a fast repair waiting, the tow took so long, I could have done another race, retired, and started a podcast about it. When I finally rejoin, I'm 29th out of 30. From hero to 0, literally. I let a few cars by under blue flag while I nurse some heat into the tyres, and by the time they finally start gripping, I'm right behind the guy in 6th. Sure, a lap down, but that's not the point. Now, here's where logic goes out the window. I didn't want this weekend to end as just 2 losses, so I decided, screw it. If I'm a lap down behind P6, I'm just going to pretend I'm in P7. Let's see how I measure up with the big boys. And honestly, I was driving so smoothly, properly in the zone. The BMW felt fantastic, predictable, agile, confident. I could finally push without fear. Sure, I wasn't close enough to attack him, but he wasn't pulling away either. We were matching pace lap for lap, and I was loving it. I felt connected again, like the muscle memory had finally woken up. Then, on the last lap, reality returned. A tiny brush of grass, a kiss of the wall, and suddenly I'm finishing the race with my steering wheel pointing about 90 degrees to the right. Not ideal, but even limping at home, I couldn't help but feel encouraged. The pace was there, the confidence was back. All I needed now was time. Because sim racing isn't something you just know. You have to keep it beaten into your subconscious, because if you're anything like me, you'll eventually forget how to drive.